You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
Don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body doesn't know the difference. Words are energy and they cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. Change the way you speak about yourself and you can change your life.
You can't beat a man if you don't jump. You can't be top dog unless you fight the other dog. Ain't nobody finna give you the championship. You don't win the title without coming to the fight. You don't win the fight without training. The jump is necessary. It's like I said in the video, every successful person I ever know has jumped. Why would you not? See, you have this opportunity. All of us have opportunities in life. And it's gonna require a decision that we have to make to go for it or to stay still. So having this opportunity is like standing on a cliff with this gift God got for you packed on your back in a parachute pack. Now while you're standing on this cliff, you see people soaring by, going on vacations, having a summer home, opening a business, climbing the corporate ladder, being what they've always wanted to be, getting the job or the career they dream. You see people, there's a neighbor down the street, they get a new car every 2 years. How the hell they getting a new car every 2 years? What are they doing down there? You know, and you see all of this, people just sailing by because they jumped.
The reality is that most people don't change. Most people live the same 6 months 100 times in a row and then they die. They go to the same places, they make the same jokes, they have the same small talk, they work at the same job, and then they die. Because they were never willing to be uncomfortable, because they were never willing to change. And a lot of people get real uncomfortable when I talk about this stuff. But most people are average, and most people stay stuck in the same patterns. They live the same 6 months for 40 straight years and never change. And so if you want to be exceptional, then you will often have to be the exception.
What I've learned is to always keep going. Always. But what I've come to find out is that, you know, no matter what happens, the storm eventually ends. And when the storm does end, you want to make sure that you're ready. And so I've really learned to put one foot in front of the other, good, bad, or indifferent, because eventually that storm passes.
You go higher, you go even more alone. Because nobody is willing anymore to invest their energy in going higher. Because it's becoming more difficult. They say, oh, it's already okay here. Why you still want to move up there? Along this way, the higher you want to go, the more likely you're gonna walk alone. This is the next thing.
If you have found the right path, if you are like an artist or creative, and you feel frustrated and you feel blocked, that's a good thing. That little bit of pain, that little bit of frustration, it's often a signal that you're actually on the verge of turning into the right direction. It's a signal that things aren't quite working out and you're listening to it. But if you get anxious and you don't listen to the frustration, then you can't be creative, you can't go into it. But you'll learn at a much higher rate. As I said in Mastery, everything involves a degree of pain, a degree of practice, a degree of drudgery. There's nothing that's going to come easy in life. So anything skill that you're going to learn is going to involve that. And if you're not connected to it in a deep way like you are with music, you're never going to learn fast enough. You're going to burn out too early.
You must never forget, you are amazing. How strong and determined you are. And the amazing thing about you is that it doesn't matter how much pressure you are under. You're always the same, and no one would ever notice. You know, you're such an inspiration to people, some of whom don't deserve it, but you always show up for them. You are an incredible support, and I don't know how you can do that. I'm not sure that I could. Someone said that you are a light in the darkness for many people. And the wonderful thing about you is it doesn't matter what stress or what pain you are in, you are always there for people, and you just keep going. Your bravery is so well known, and people would never know that you're not as confident as you seem, and that you question your ability a lot. Just look at yourself in the mirror. That's where you see the true you. It's just amazing how you march on regardless, no matter the storm that might be raging around you. Just look back and see how far you've come, although you don't realize it, but others can see it only too well. Don't ever lose that unique spirit you have, and don't ever stop believing in yourself, and keep going, because you matter a great deal. You need to be so proud of yourself.
only the self-sufficient stand alone. Most people follow the crowd and imitate. When you don't need to, you can choose your own direction.
Nobody changes until they change their energy. And when you change your energy, you change your life. Don't expect anything in your life to change if your environment is controlling your feelings and thoughts. And if your environment is controlling how you feel and think, and I say to you, Aubrey, why are you so upset today? Oh, well, this person is upsetting me. What you're really saying is that person is controlling your feelings and your thoughts, and that means you're a victim to your environment. So to turn that around and you start realizing your feelings and thoughts create your environment, and you start seeing the effects of you at cause, you're going to react less to the people in your life because you're going to understand that you'll be back to the victim consciousness. And when you start seeing that you're creating outcomes in your life, you're going to believe more that you're the creator of your life and less the victim of your life. And I say, the more you practice it, the better you get at it.
A lot of times I'll be in a 200-mile run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken. I started to say, what if I can pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office, he looked at me and said, there's only been 35 African Americans in 70 years make it through. You know what I said to myself? What if I can be the 36th? It's the what if I can pull off a miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be? And just me talking about that, I have the hair going up on my arms because it makes me just like, what if?
Every time you wanted to quit, every time life tried to break you, you chose to stand tall. That's what makes you great. You see, the underdog story is the realest story there is. Because when you come from nothing, you appreciate everything. You hustle different, you love different, and you lead different. So today, I want you to do 3 things. Stay humble. Never forget where you came from. Stay hungry. Keep that fire in your soul. And stay true. Always be real with yourself and the world. Because the world don't need no more copies. It need originals. And trust me, ain't nobody else that can do what you do like you do.
It's the reality if it's about 90 degrees and 100% humidity. But who gives a shit? That being said, September 3rd, I have to have my book turned in. And what I realized, I'm reading this book a lot, but I realized I wasn't born. I made them. At the bottom of insecurities, fear, self-doubt, lies, was me buried in a position. How I got out of that was recognizing, being honest with it, being truthful with it, and then fixing it. We like to live on social media with lies about ourselves, how great we are. Get to the source and fix the problem.
Fail big. That's right. Fail big. Today's the beginning of the rest of your life, and it can be very frightening. It's a new world out there. It's a mean world out there, and you only live once. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances professionally. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test, was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big.
Like, the pursuit of productivity spurs us to do more, while robbing us of the ability to savor any of the successes that we achieve along the way. So first off, people are not particularly good judges of how productive they are. I think so many people are whipping themselves into submission, saying you're not doing enough, because in the past that motivated them to do more. Yeah. And after a while, you have to accept, I'm doing quite a lot. And if you were an athlete on a sports team and your coach only ever pointed at you when you made a bad play, you wouldn't feel particularly motivated by that. But a lot of people have this sense of productivity debt. They wake up every day feeling as if they're already behind. And only if they dominate their entire day perfectly can they drag themselves back up to some minimum level of acceptable output. And only then can they go to sleep that night without feeling like a loser. This means that your set point is loss, and the best thing that you can do if you crush the day is get to a draw. You never win. And then there's this sort of weird drill sergeant in the back of your mind that's saying, all right, you can have a little bit of a break now, but just so you know, as soon as you wake up in the morning, it's all going to happen again. And I'm speaking to a very particular type of mindset here. There is a huge cohort of people on the internet who do need David Goggins screaming in their face, telling them to go harder and sort their life out.
People, and this is a term, there's a term, it's rock bottom, right? This is a term that we hear for someone that's addicted, someone that's an alcoholic, someone that's physically let themselves go, someone that's put themselves into a situation with their finances or their work or whatever, where they reach rock bottom. But when the excuses all go away and people can actually confront the fact that this is all because of me, and it hurts, but is also unbelievably empowering, because if these problems are because of me, then I'm capable of fixing these problems. So even though extreme ownership hurts and is painful, it's also liberating, because now you have control over your fate and over your destiny, and that is a glorious thing.
What do you say to those people that find themselves completely absent of apparent discipline?
I think it's really important when we mess up that we don't identify with that, right? We identify with the person that we want to be, that we know that we can be. We identify with the thing happening, and then we fall off, right? Like in sobriety circles, they talk about like falling off the wagon. I like the idea that the wagon is going and you're either on the wagon or off the wagon, right? And the idea when you fall or you mess up or you make a mistake or you break that promise, like it's still there. Like you can get back on it anytime, right? That's kind of how I think about it. So instead of going, oh, I'm a piece of shit, I'm spiraling, I'm worthless, it's like, no, the thing has continued on. Am I gonna run and catch up to it? Am I gonna start to build those habits again? Or am I gonna, write it off because it's not there anymore? Do you know what I mean? I kind of try to think about it that way. It's like, just because I've had a bad week where I was overscheduled or distracted or I was sick or whatever and I wasn't writing, that doesn't mean all is lost. Like, I just have to sit down tomorrow, or better, I have to sit down now, and I just have to do a little bit, right? And that's what starts that process again.
Choices we make, our character is defined by the choices we make on a moment-to-moment basis. It all adds up to the win. And don't give me that shit. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, it's how you play the game, all that bullshit. If that was so true, then why are there scoreboards? Why do people give a shit and keep score of anything? And always you will win. Always you will win. Sometimes you'll win immediately, but always definitely. You know what that means? You might not win it today, but your efforts done today, even the failure felt today, are all measures that create the moment later. And if you failed on the way back and got there, and you got knocked down, found the intestinal forward to get back up, try that same endeavor, then you find yourself victorious in that endeavor, that's the sweetest victory of all. That builds a confidence that's unbreakable.
And the ultimate mindset is this. It is to understand that you're only competing with yourself. You're only competing with the man or the woman that you were yesterday. If you start comparing yourself to others around you, you're very quickly going to feel this sense of despair and sadness and anxiety. And the reason is, you can't compare your first year to my 10 years of work. And so if you are thinking that you're going to compare yourself to me or to someone of high status, high income, high influence, high celebrity, how can you do that? It is disrespectful to us. It is disrespectful to those people who have put a decade or two in when you're still in year 1 and 2. And so comparison, they say comparison is the thief of joy. It is absolutely true. You should only compare yourself to the version that you were yesterday and become that much better today. You see, because the ultimate mindset requires you to do the work even when you're tired, to do the work even when you didn't sleep well, to do the work even when you are sick.
Never forget to train your mind. In life, a lot of us work our ass off trying to get to a better place, a place that makes us feel better about ourselves. Some people want to do ultra races. They're starting to PR during training. Some people want to be a lawyer or a medical student. So they're taking these practice tests and they're questioning the practice test. But guess what happens? Once you get to the actual event, your mind isn't ready. Your mind's not prepared. You've been studying, you've been training, you've been working out, but your mind's not prepared. Story for you. When I was 19 years old, I was going through the Air Force trying to be a pararescueman. I was doing push-ups, sit-ups, swimming. I was doing all this shit, knocking out of the park. One of the best in the class. But the second obstacle got in the way, I wasn't prepared for it mentally. I was a beast. All I was doing was I was training a bigger, stronger, faster quitter. You gotta train your mind for all obstacles that might get in your way.
You already know who you are. And that peace that we're after lies somewhere beyond personality, beyond the perception of others, beyond invention and disguise, even beyond effort itself. You can join the game, fight the wars, play with form all you want, but to find real peace, you have to let the armor go. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory.
Be decisive. Develop the characteristic and quality of decisiveness. We know that the reason why we are indecisive is because we're afraid of making a mistake. But the terrible thing is that the way that we think becomes a habit. And the habit of indecisiveness can condemn us to failure. We can be talented and intelligent and ambitious, but if we cannot make the hard decisions in our life, and if we cannot make decisions readily, then what happens is we always have to work for people who do make decisions readily. Now, the interesting thing about decisions is that about 80% of decisions should be made the first time they come up. 80% of decisions should be made the first time they come up. And if you make decisions every single time they come up, sooner or later you will develop the habit of decisiveness. You'll be very clear about what it is you want, and it's easy to make decisions if you know what it is you want to accomplish. One of the major reasons why people are indecisive, in my experience, is they have no idea what they want to accomplish.
Why would you not jump? Why would you not take a chance? Like B say, yeah, it's scary. Hey man, I went to work the next day and quit my job. What you talking about? I was finna get in the car and drive for some dudes I don't even really know. But I was gonna take a jump, dumb jump. But I was gonna take a jump. I got 2 kids in here that ain't eating. But it's the risk, man, that make life so rewarding. You have to take it, partner. Without them, you ain't gonna do. So, if something has been in your heart to do, and you never do it, you will play it safe and you will stand on that cliff with your gift that God gave you safely tucked away on your backpack. That's your parachute.
So just over the years, I've just learned to just be empty. Basically, just be empty in there, empty of thought, empty of emotion, empty of anything, and just trust your reaction.
So the 1 second decision is, I had to live through that 1 second decision several times during this race. So this race took me 100 and some hours, okay? And this is what people don't get. For you to finish that race, even though I DNF'd, I still finished in the time. So there's a lot of pride in that. If you're 100 and some odd hours, let me use Hell Week. This is a perfect example. Hell Week's 130 hours. And 130 hours is a lot of seconds. A lot of fucking seconds. And if you lose, let's say you win every second but one, you lost. It only takes 1 second for you to lose the whole thing.
Only do things that only we can do. It was about doing things that we didn't even know we could do yet, which became One of Zero. And that's why that became the brand that I'm going to continue to wear for the next few years, and build that association. But I think that kind of encapsulates my personal life goal, which is like, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And what would I do if I didn't, if I knew I couldn't fail? And the idea that I will never wish for fewer epic stories at the end of my life. And I've never regretted failures. I've always regretted things that I didn't try. And so just along those lines of trying to create more bias internally towards action rather than inaction, and normalizing consequences of failure as we said earlier, win or learn.
Because you're not like everybody else. You know, when you're built different than everybody else and you have this desire for more and this desire for achievement and this desire to win, everybody else looks at you like you're fucked up. And they'll tell you that too. You know, what's wrong with you? Like, why can't you just relax? Why can't you just do this? Because I'm just not built that way, man. And, as I've gotten a little bit older, I've gotten better at accepting it. And it's sort of embracing the fact that this provides a lot of good, but there's a lot of things that you have to deal with that come that aren't so good.
The small steps in between the big successes that everyone sees. No one sees this. Right now, I'm saying, like, there's a confidence to it, man. There's a bad motherfucker that's right here, you know, that's getting ahead of the competition. There's an overwhelming sense of fulfillment and pride and satisfaction with that. You know, I didn't have to shoot up anything. I didn't have to drink anything. I didn't have to go party anything. All I had to do was just go work out. And now what's going to happen is a residual effect of that. Not only does my body grow, but my belief in whatever my current endeavors are, they seem closer. They seem like, you know, I can reach out and grab them now. And you don't get that sense of confidence by going through society's rhyme to reason.
He worked day and night, every day, for years and years and years and years and years. And as time went on, 20 years had passed. And he felt that he had accomplished all that he set out to accomplish. But what he come to realize is that the goal that he set out initially of becoming the greatest of all time was a very fickle one. And what he realized that the most important thing in life is how your career moves and touches those around you and how it carries forward to the next generation. But he realized that's what makes true greatness. Well, the story would be about transformation of a kid looking inwardly to then growing up and understanding the importance and the power he's looking outwardly.
My friends were the guys that were in the battle with me. So it's very different in today's age, which I actually think is a little, you've got to create a lot of different emotion to heighten your sense of awareness and focus. Like for me, anger was good. Anger was good because it was motivating. The more I could create an enemy, the more I wanted to go out and kill those guys. Now, I knew I wasn't going to kill them physically, but man, if I could just, what did they say? You know, and what did they look like? Did they disrespect me at all? You know, and did that asshole say something? Like, those are little things that can get me right in the emotional frame of mind that when I ran on the field and I said, let's fucking go. It was really, let's go kick some ass. That's what we were doing.
When you eat a fucking great juicy steak, man, you want to have that again. When you go out and you train hard to play baseball and you connect and you hit the winning home run, you want to feel that way again. When you taste these finer things of life, all the pain, all the work, all the sacrifice to get them is well worth it. If anything, it's a small down payment for the price and the reward you got and that feeling. And once felt, how do you ever turn your back on it? Stop running from the potential of what you can be, guys. It's inside of you. It's always been there. Grab a buddy of yours. Say, man, me and you are going to fucking do this together. And you're going to be on my ass if I start slacking. I'm going to be on your ass if I start slacking. And I'll never accept mediocre again.
There's a moment when every boy realizes no one's coming to save him. And that's when he becomes a man. And some boys never get there and stay children forever. That guy was you that said that. And it's important when we step out of this. Like, this stuff matters because no one's effing coming to save you. No one's going to make you better at your business. No one is going to get you to be a better persuader of people or framer of people other than you. And I just feel like that's one of the more profound philosophical comments. There's a lot of grown men and women that are still boys and girls because they think someone else is coming to change their life.
One thing important is that we all have these moments in time that either make you or break you, that can determine the rest of your life. The rest of your life can be determined by one simple decision. 19 years ago, 300 pounds, I was spraying for cockroaches. I made a decision to try to be a Navy SEAL. My whole goal was to go on this path every day after work and to run a mile to a mile and a half. This rock was about the 0.5 mark in my run. This rock was a moment that should have broken me. I got 0.5 into it. I weighed 297 pounds. I sat on this rock and I had a decision to make. I wanted to quit. I wanted to give up. There wasn't some inspirational quote. There wasn't nothing. It was me, myself, and it was freezing out here. I had to make a decision. The decision I make was to get up and keep on going. That one moment changed the rest of my life.
There comes a day where being average, being mediocre is just sickening to you. It's just sickening. It makes you want to throw up because you've seen people with far less talent than you. As you're growing up with them, their childhood buddies, whatever else, they didn't have what you had. Yet now they're fucking to become something that you haven't. There comes that day. It's either when you're young, you know, and it strikes you on the baseball field because you're sick of striking out, or it's when you get fired from your 5th job, you know, and your wife and kids are on your ass because you don't know how to support them anymore. There comes a fucking day where push comes to shove, where being mediocre, being like average and shit just fucking burns and sucks so much. You can't deal with it one more day, and you get off your fucking ass and you create something that's always been there. It's always been inside of you trying to come out, but you've never wanted to unwrap it because there's too much fucking pain.
Do you want to do this or not? Which is what I think a lot of it boils down to. Do you actually want to do this or not? Do you actually want to do this or not? Because if you actually want to do it, what's going to stop you? Nothing. And if you don't really want to do it, what's going to stop you? Just about anything that comes up. Just about any obstacle that gets in your way becomes an excuse. It becomes a reason. It becomes a rationale for not proceeding down that path. And this is interesting too. When you talk to people that went to SEAL training that didn't make it, most of the time it's some reason. There's a medical reason. There's a family problem. There's very few people that look at you and say, "Oh, I quit because it sucked."
There is no get out of jail free card. This is why I say stay hard. Because when you weren't given the gifts, the only thing you can do in life is stay hard. And I know people cannot stand me. They can't stand this talk.